Hey everybody, welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today we're going to look at a Tinkle story. And I love Tinkle comic books because they have stories from all different types of cultures. This one is going to be a Japanese story that we're going to read today. This was a festival special from 2002, so 21 years ago. No, wait, 19 years ago? Oh, wait, 20 years ago on average. Okay, so there's so many different stories and activities that are in festival specials, and they're really nice, big, thick books. So these are all out of print, but the stories, I want those to live forever. So let's get started. Here we are, The Stonecutter, a Japanese folktale. Script by Gayatri Chandrasekharan, illustrations by Arjit Datta Chaudhary. Once upon a time, there lived a stonecutter who cut slabs of stone from a big mountain. That was a really hard job, and that was the only way before machinery they could get stones to build houses and buildings and other things. And there he is. Phew! The sun gets hotter and the stones get harder with each passing day. Someone heard him. Poor man, he works so hard and yet he is so poor. It was the spirit that dwelt in the mountain. One day, I have come to deliver the stone slabs, the stonecutter says to one of his customers, and he notices behind the customer. He thinks, oh, what a wonderful house. Sigh, if only I were a rich man and could sleep in a bed with silken curtains, how happy I would be. This was what the mountain spirit had been waiting for. Your wish is heard. A rich man you shall be. Huh? Says the stonecutter. Who is it? Who spoke just now? There's no one here. I just imagined it all. But when he reached home, what a magnificent house! Can this be mine? There's a servant there to greet him, and he says, welcome home, master. I have drawn water for your bath, master. He's looking at everything and checking it all out, and he says, the bed is exactly how I wanted it to be. The voice was real after all. So now he's rich. He's not going back to that mountain again. The stonecutter stopped cutting stone from that day. He spent his time doing nothing at all. Now he's sitting there fanning himself in his rich, luxurious clothes, and the servant standing there. The former stonecutter says, it's so hot. Bring me a glass of iced tea. But the sun became hotter and hotter. One day, the stonecutter's looking out his window at the prince's procession going on outside, and he's thinking, the heat is unbearable, but the prince looks as cool as a cucumber. Sigh, if only I were a prince and could walk around with an umbrella held over me. How happy I should be. The mountain spirit heard him once again and granted his wish once again. Suddenly, boom, there he is, in the rich clothes of the prince, surrounded by all the prince's servant and under his umbrella. And he's happy, and he says, the sun cannot touch me now. But soon, he's saying, in spite of the umbrella over my head, I grow browner and browner each day. He doesn't like it that he's getting a tan. He says, the sun is mightier than I am. If only I were the sun. No sooner had he said that than the sun he was. Now I am the mightiest of all, he says. He shone with such intensity that below the ground is dry and cracked. There's no leaves or bushes and nothing on the trees, and the animals are parched and exhausted. So he's happy. But, hey, cloud, move away. How dare you block the sun? He's saying to that cloud. But the cloud would not budge. What is the use of all my might if a cloud can trap my rays? Oh, if only I were a cloud. And of course, a cloud he became. Now I can catch the beams of the sun and can rain as much as I want to. The sky grew dark and it poured and poured. But the cloud was still not happy. Towns and villages have been destroyed under my deluge, but that big rock down there continues to stand as if nothing has happened. Is the rock mightier than I am? Then I wish to be a rock. Needless to say, the mountain spirit turned him into a rock. Neither can the sun affect me, nor can the rain. But, yow! He yelps. Something hit him. He shivers. What could that possibly be that could hurt a mountain like that? Surprise, surprise. Who's that who sends shivers up my spine? A mere stonecutter? Can he be mightier than I am? Oh, if only I were a stonecutter. The mountain spirit granted his wish, and a stonecutter once more he was. Phew, he says, as he went through that whole journey, he's just back to his old job. The stonecutter was happy at last, and he never again heard the voice of the mountain spirit. I am thinking the mountain spirit will not be going to him anymore. You know what's interesting? I read this same story in Panchatantra stories or Jataka Tales or something that was an ancient Indian story about this guy who wants to be a cloud, and then he wants the sun, and then he wants to be a cloud, and then he wants to be a mountain, and then finally he is somebody who works in the fields or a stonecutter or something like that all over again. So isn't that interesting that both of these stories are very, very old and they're from different countries, but they're very, very similar? It makes you think, where did they come from? Did they have the same writer? Or did all those writers travel to different places? Isn't that interesting? Now, I'm glad that you came here and you joined us again on Indian Story Read Along. And if you want more stories, something like this, then hit the bell for notifications and also subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for joining us this time.